gia VSK phương án không tuổi ở Việt Nam. Nhân chuyến công tác ở tại Israel, tôi rất vui được gặp ông Eran Katz, tác giả của cuốn Trí tuệ người Do Thái. Và sau đây sẽ là một cái cuộc phỏng vấn với ngài Eran Katz. Hello, I present myself. My name is Lee. I come from Vietnam, and I'm the founder of Vietnam Super Kids and education. And I heard in Vietnam about the books, Spirits of Jewish, and it's very honor to meet you in Israel. And now, can you present about yourself to the Vietnamese people?
Sure. My name is Eran Katz. I'm an author, speaker, giving lectures and seminars on memory improvement and brain boosting techniques, many of them based on the Jewish way to brain power. I have books translated to 14 languages, and I help people remember better. And now I have a new book that I'm helping them how to forget. It's my new book. Hopefully in Vietnamese soon.
Oh, I hope so. So when did you publish the first book in Vietnam?
I think it was 3 years ago, maybe 4 years ago. And I was received very nicely in Vietnam. I have get a lot of emails from Vietnamese readers, very eager to learn, very eager to be in touch with me, which is really nice. And I actually really loved Vietnam. I've been there twice, and really amazing country. Amazing country.
To read one book, how long did you write the first book in Vietnam?
How long did it take me to write it?
Yes.
Well, the thing about books is when you start writing it, my first book, it took me 4 years. My second book, 2 years. My third book, 1 year. And the last book, half a year. So you learn how to do it faster and more efficient. It took me about 2 years because I had to do research. I had to test it in my seminars to see the techniques work. I learned, there's a nice Jewish saying, I learned a lot from my teachers, but more from my students. It's the students that you learn from, what works, what doesn't work. So I had to check out and see what works and what doesn't work. And then we have a nice book about Jewish techniques with a nice story.
Because the books we are reading now in Vietnam is very interesting because of the stories and very easy to understand. So you said that you have until now 4 books. 4 books about the Jewish.
Well, I have 6 books, but 2 are not related to memory. They are more kind of fiction books, humorous fiction books about the Middle East, but they're just not related to what we're talking about.
Yes. And I want to ask you about the reason why you concerned so much in this kind of book.
Well, because as a student, I wanted to remember more information in half the time it took me. So I was looking for techniques to help me succeed in my exams, but without giving up on my hobbies. So I started learning these techniques and discovered that you can definitely remember much better in half the time. And about the Jewish techniques, you know, they say that Jews are smart. Of course, some of them are smart, some of them are stupid, like every other country. You know, there are people good, bad, smart, not smart in every country. However, it is true that the Jewish people had a very unusual history, and a very bad one, that forced them to develop a certain kind of intelligence, to think faster, to survive, to many things based on Jewish culture. For example, they really respect their rabbis, their teachers. In today's society, kids worship models, football players, TV stars. That's not a good role model. That's actually a bad role model, because you think you should be famous. That's your point in life, being famous and rich. And in the Jewish world, they always admire the smart people. Like, by the way, many Asians, like in China, you would admire Confucius, and in Korea, Sejong. You would be inspired by certain people that create something good in your life. Ho Chi Minh, for example, that is very inspiring for many Vietnamese. So you should basically learn from those that inspire you and are good people.
Yes. And I know one phrase. The jurists say that think out of the box.
Yeah.
Is correct?
Yeah.
Can you tell me more about this?
Actually, it's really difficult to think outside the box. What you can do is think inside the box, but differently. Because the human mind cannot really invent something totally new. You must base your new things on the previous knowledge that you have. That's the way it works. So everything is associated to something else you know. And thinking outside the box means that you should look at something and, of course, do it completely different. Because the main problem with the brain is that we adopt habits. We do the same thing all the time, even if we don't want to. For example, if you go to a supermarket, isn't it true you will always go to the same supermarket, and inside the supermarket you always walk the same way? First you go to the vegetable, the same route you will take, right? And if you just change it, start from the other side of the supermarket, do something different, it will help you develop your brain. Instead of writing with your right hand, write with your left hand, okay? Going to work, take a different route. All these things actually help you develop your brain neurologically.
And concerning about the early education, what do you think is good for the children or is not good? And how do the parents in Israel they teach their children at the early age?
I think, first of all, I agree that it's best teaching children in a very young age, because that's when the brain is beginning to develop, and that's when they are more receptive to learning faster new things. So that's the best, to teach them languages, to teach them math and other things. In Israel, well, you cannot generalize, of course. There's all kinds of parents, but those that want to help their children in various ways, listening to music, talking to the child while still pregnant. It's proven that if you talk to the child, you play music to it, it's very beneficial. Also, when the kid is born. Also, when the kid, even at the age of 3, 4, they have many questions, you should answer them not like children, but like grown-ups. Tell them the exact answer. Don't say because this or because that, or dismiss it and say, when you grow up, I'll teach you. No, tell them right now everything you would tell a grown-up. So some people do that, some people don't. When my daughters were young, I have 2 daughters. One is 20 years old, she's in the army now, and one is 14 years old. And when they were young, they would ask me questions. Sometimes I was busy, so I would say, well, this is too complicated, and then I reminded myself, no, you should try now to explain. Do it now. Don't give up. Do it now. Don't be lazy. So that's a good tip, I think, for everyone.
And how do the Israel school teach the children in general, in kindergarten, how they developed their capacity this time?
I think there's a differentiation between Israeli schools and, let's say, Jewish schools, what you call yeshivas, because Israel is like every other country in the world. You have good schools, you have bad schools. The Jewish yeshivas, on the other hand, are interesting because you have their techniques that you won't find in any other school. For example, when something is boring, what they do is they start arguing about it. They start asking questions. Why this and why not this? They do not take anything for granted. That's the reason why so many Jews won Nobel Prizes. The questioning, the need to inquire. I'm saying this because when I come to Asia and I give lectures in Asia, Japan, Korea, China, I say something and I see that the students write and they accept what I'm telling them. It's like, yes, you're the expert, we believe you, this is the truth. And I tell them, no, you should argue with me. You should ask me, why do you think this is this way, not that way? Because all this inquiry, that's what leads you to discoveries. So never take anything for granted. Always ask, why this? Why not this? How can I make it better? That's the Jewish way. That's the Jewish way. So that's why sometimes when I give lectures in yeshivas, it's difficult because they always challenge you. They always argue with you. And you know, sometimes it's too much, but then for a teacher, it's actually fun because it really makes you think about the things you teach.
Because I visit some kindergarten in Israel, and I noticed that the children can't imagine the life. For example, they see this table, and some of them doesn't. No, I don't see this table. It's a rectangle, for example. And no, so the teacher don't say that. Oh, it's not correct. They can continue with the imaginations of the children.
That's the basis of the Talmud, the Jewish studies, using imagination. Jews always had a very good imagination because they did not have much choice. They needed the imagination. Actually, Einstein said that imagination is stronger than logic because what is not logical right now can be logical with the help of imagination. For example, if you take somebody in the Middle Ages and you tell them, one day we will be on the moon, we will walk on the moon, Middle Ages, they will say, how will we get to the moon? No way, this is totally impossible. This is so full of imagination, never will it succeed. But we know imagination brought rockets, brought, building, our abilities to get to the moon. Imagination makes something not logical become logical. That's the beauty. Everything can become logical with working on your brain and imagining things.
So if if we say about the spirits of Jews, so can you brief in 5 or 10 sentences?
About what?
About the spirits of Jews. The intelligence
of the Jews?
Yes.
Well, in short, it's based first of all on their need to survive because they were persecuted. They had a terrible Holocaust. Ever since they had Crusades, Inquisition, everybody hated Jews throughout history. Till today, we're still surrounded by all those people who hate Jews. And the Jews learned they have to survive. And in order to survive, you have to think much better than everybody else. You have to think faster and better to survive. So that's built in their genes, to find the shortcuts, to find how do I make my life bearable, reasonable, and more successful. Jews were outsiders. Like, by the way, many Asians now in the States. You know who are the most successful students in the United States these days? Indians, Chinese, Vietnamese, Okay? Why? Because they're outsiders. They feel they need to prove themselves better. They don't take their existence for granted in the States. So it's based on survival. It's based on role models, that you admire role models. It's based on the way you learn in school. Asking questions, arguing, standing up. The movement, they learn standing up. You know why? Because when you stand up, all this rocking, Jews study like going back and forth. If you see them learn, they go like this, back and forth. It's because it generates blood flow to the brain, and that increases the level of oxygen and our ability to concentrate and understand better. So that's also, and there are many others in the book, and everybody's welcome to read the book and know all the secrets of
Yes, because for the other people who haven't read the books, so can you tell more details, some secrets? Yes.
These are mainly the secrets. There's also a story in the book about this guy that is trying to succeed in his studies and business using these ancient Jewish techniques. That's the storyline of the book.
Yeah, because I heard some words. The other people in over the world tell about the Jews. First, is the Jews have the very strong desire. They never want to be to do normal things. They want to do the big things. And the second verse, there is always eager to know more than life give them the more. And
that's what we were talking about, survival instinct.
And the third words is very positive. They are very positive.
I think so. I think Jews have a very great sense of humor. A lot of comedians, a lot of movie stars are Jewish. A lot of directors in Hollywood, because they know that life can be very miserable. So they learn how to accept the good things in life and enjoy the little things in life, and actually laugh about yourself. If you laugh about yourself, if you know how to have humor about yourself, then things are easier. You don't take yourself so seriously, and that really helps.
And the fourth is the imagination. The Jews teach the children from the children. And for them, the imagination is very important in life. It's right.
Yes, it's like we said about Einstein.
And the last thing is the Jews is very, how can I say, they work hard. Work hard.
They do work hard, it's true. In Israel, people are dedicated to work, but I think they work harder than Europeans, not as hard as Japanese. I think Japanese work really hard, so they're in the middle somewhere.
It's like the state work. And
They are committed to dedicated, I think so.
so much. And so now in Vietnam, only one book published.
Two books.
Published.
Yeah.
The first is the series.
Yeah, and the second, I don't know what's it called. It's called Secrets of Super Memory.
Super memory.
Yeah. Sorry. That's the one about the Jewish one?
Yes, the first one.
So, and then this one.
And the second.
It's not.
Yes. And the name of the second book?
Secrets of the Super Memory.
Secrets of the Super Memory. And you will publish the third?
I hope so.
And can you tell the name of it?
5 gifts for the mind. 5 gifts, presents for the mind.
For the mind. Wow, wonderful.
And it's about actually Asian wisdom. Combination of Asian and Jewish wisdom. With a story about something that's happening in East Asia.
Oh, I'm eager to read it. Okay, can you shortly brief about this book?
Well, it's about different things we can do with our memory that we don't know. Various skills that we have that our brain has that we don't know. For example, our ability to erase memories from our delete memories and knowledge that we don't want. That's one of the gifts. It's called the gift of forgetfulness. There is a gift of willpower, how to control our desires, or have little guilty sins without feeling any bad feelings, like eating a cake without feeling bad about it. No guilty feelings about little things that we do and we don't really like. And there's the gift of persuasion based on Chinese techniques, how to persuade 90% of people about selling them your idea or your product. There's a gift of the safe mind, I call it, how to make the right decisions in 2 minutes, how to prevent mistakes, and so don't make any mistakes. And the last one is the gift of beauty. The gift of beauty is based on Japanese techniques, the same aesthetic techniques, the same ones Steve Jobs used for creating the Apple. The techniques, the beauty techniques that make us say, wow, that we look at something and we say, wow, this is beautiful. What is that? It's based on psychological studies. That's the book.
So 4 books.
4 books in one.
4 books in one.
5 gifts in one. And I did that because people don't really have patience for reading too much these days, so I wanted to make it short. 5 sections in a book instead of 1 book about every section. Giving the main ideas. That was the
We are waiting for these books. It's very nice and we are eager to read it. I hope to see you soon in Vietnam.
Me too.
Yes,
Thank you very much.
because you said that you love Vietnam very much, and 2 times in Vietnam.
It's not enough, yeah. I still have many things to see that I didn't see.
And I hope that when you will be in Vietnam in near future, you will have the speech or sharing these books with communities in Vietnam. Thank you so much for the interview. Hello, Mr. Eran Katz. I'm very happy to meet you again in Israel.
Me too.
Yes, so how are you?
Wonderful.
Yes, I've heard that the book is the best sellers now in Israel, and congratulations.
Thank you.
Yes, the name of the book is 5 Gifts for the Mind.
5 gifts for the mind.
Yes, so I'm curiously to know about this book. Why it's famous like this, and I hope that it will be published soon in Vietnam. So now can you tell a little bit about this book?
Yeah. I hope so too, that it will be published in Vietnam. It's a book that includes non-fiction and a fiction story. And the gifts, there are 5 gifts in the book. First gift is the gift of forgetfulness, how to erase your memories and information that you don't want to make room for better memories. Okay, that's the first gift. The second gift is the gift of, I call it the gift of the sure mind, how to prevent mistakes, how not to make mistakes and reach the right decisions very fast, to make good decision making. That's the second gift. The third gift is the gift of controlling your desires, how to control your desires, or if you don't want to control your desires, how to sin without guilty conscience. Meaning, if you want to eat, for example, a cake, and you feel uncomfortable about it, how can you do that without feeling bad about it yourself? That's the third gift. The fourth gift is the gift of persuasion, based on Chinese techniques of persuasion. How to reach a 90% sales rate in persuading people of your idea or any product that you sell. Meaning, with these techniques you can sell to 9 out of 10 people. Okay? And the last gift is called the gift of beauty. It's based on Japanese rules for neuroaesthetics. What we think is beautiful, what we perceive as beautiful psychologically. The same techniques Steve Jobs used for creating the iPad. The things that we say, wow, this is beautiful. How can we use this in our daily life, for our business, for anything we design? These are the 5 gifts. All of them, to make it more interesting, are in a story, suspense story that is happening in East Asia. Very, very fascinating story with amazing facts, amazing real facts, by the way. So amazing that when you finish the book, you will go to the internet to check out if the facts are real or not.
It's wonderful. Yeah, thank you so much for the book, and I hope that it's published soon in Vietnam, because going to Israel, and I had many time to have the appointment with you, but it seems that you are very busy with many interviews with the radio, television, because of this book. Is right?
Yes, but it's fun, and I think each and everyone's goal is to help people. And I wrote my books with love to help people, and they were successful in Vietnam. And I will be really happy to come back to Vietnam again to meet the wonderful Vietnamese people, and I hope that will happen.
Yes, and at the end, so now you know that I'm working for the children education. What do you want to say to me, or the wish to my?
I wish you all the success. I think you're doing something wonderful. Anything that helps children become better, become smarter, become better people is a blessing. So what you're doing is wonderful, and I'm sure you will succeed.
Thank you so much for the interview, and hope to see you soon in Vietnam. Goodbye and see you soon.